So, Amanda, I want to ask you how you got started in the roofing business and how that journey unfolded for you.
Sure. So it was sort of accidental. In 2020, I was running another company that had nothing to do with roofing, and it closed because of COVID.
What can someone expect from a day in the life of Amanda, and how should they take inspiration from it?
Oh gosh. They should take inspiration over my exhaustion and hire an admin immediately. People calling me at 8 o'clock at night from my team that have important questions about sales appointments, and they're trying to close deals, and I'm trying to get dinner made while putting my kids to bed and eating my own dinner and talking to my employees. For me, I want to see the best in people. I want people to succeed. So when I hire them, I want them to do well. And it hurts me as a human being to have to let somebody go. I do want to go back in the sales track, which would be really interesting because I haven't been in a full-time sales role for a couple of years now.
Hello and welcome to the Roofing Industry Podcast. Today I have a very special guest with me, Amanda Veinott with Maven Roofing and Exteriors. She is the first female entrepreneur roofing business owner on the show. So Amanda, welcome. Please introduce yourself, your company, and where you're located.
Sure, absolutely. I'm Amanda Veinott. I'm the founder and owner of Maven Roofing and Exteriors. We are a Northern New Jersey-based roofing and exterior company, and I'm really excited to be the first woman on your podcast that's a roofing company owner. That's awesome.
Pretty cool. I hope this paves the way to many others that are looking to share their story. So Amanda, I want to ask you how you got started in the roofing business and how that journey unfolded for you.
Sure. So it was sort of accidental. In 2020, I was running another company that had nothing to do with roofing, and it closed because of COVID. And I quickly had to pivot into something else because I was having another baby in April, and we had a lot of debt to pay off from that previous company. So I accidentally got a job as a marketing manager at a roofing company. I did that for about 6 weeks, and then I quickly moved into sales, and I was one of the top salespeople in that office for almost 3 years.
I know that you guys have been in business for about 3 years, I believe. Can you tell us about your growth journey from your first year to the point where you are right now?
Sure. So we're actually 2. We turned 2 on Sunday of this week, which is awesome. So 2 days from now, we'll be 2 years old. So we are going on our 3rd year, but we're not even 2 yet. I started the company in March of 2023 and March 23rd of 2023, I should say. And it was not my plan. I had no intention of starting my own company. And I quickly realized after I left my salesperson role that when I took a job with Contractor Dynamics for about 6 weeks, I needed to get back out selling to homeowners. I loved working with roofing contractors on a peer-to-peer basis, but I didn't like selling to them. So I went back into sales with my own company rather than working for somebody else. And we scaled very quickly. We did about $1 million the first 7 months. And then we did 3 million, just shy of 3 million last year. I think it was like 2.9. This year, I think we're on track to do about 3 million again, but that's purposeful. We're not trying to grow this year. We're trying to optimize our systems and our processes, as well as empowering our people to do even more within their roles. So we're not trying to grow exponentially this year.
Did you start out as a salesperson for your own business before you started hiring? Like, how did that evolve for you?
I knew I needed to have a right-hand person running ops and production so that I could focus on what I'm good at, which is marketing and sales. And I genuinely believe that one of the reasons why we scaled so quickly and grew so fast was because I focused on what I was good at, and I hired for the things that just would have taken so much of my time away from actually selling. I think all company owners, when they first start their businesses, if they were good at sales before, they should stay focused on sales, because I always say nobody can sell like an owner. And I truly do believe that after 3 years, well, my 3rd year, I should say, I struggle to hire salespeople that can actually sell the way that I can. And we are sort of attacking that this year. That's part of those 3 Ps that I was talking about. Process and people are the top 2 that we're focusing on. And in doing so, we're reevaluating our sales training and the focus on helping our sales team sell as well as I can.
Hard to replicate yourself. That's kind of the dream, or that's kind of how we grow, because at some point you're going to hit a point where you can only take so many calls in a day.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, story of my life. Let's talk a little bit about your journey as a female roofing business owner in this industry, which is obviously male dominated. I think it's 95% male presence from what I last saw, but obviously with the advent of this group, what is it called?
National Women
in National Women and Roofing. They're doing great things. How do you see yourself in that realm, and what do you say to other female entrepreneurs that are looking to get into roofing?
I love being one of the 5%. It's genuinely such a blessing in so many ways. And I wouldn't be here, honestly, because, or if not for National Women in Roofing. When I was part of the board in the organization the last couple of years, I only got to where I am as an owner because I recognized the value that the other women in the industry brought not only to my life, but to my business. And that was really one of those transformative experiences in 2023 when I was actually with Contractor Dynamics. I went out to NWIR Day as a representative of CD within the industry, and I quickly realized how many amazing women started their own businesses sort of out of necessity within the roofing industry. And it was on the plane coming home from NWIR Day that I actually wrote my business plan, and I shared that with some of the women who were also board members of the New Jersey Council. And it was with their support that I decided to start the company. And it's been a really great journey. I've met other incredible female business owners. I've met incredible female leaders within the industry. Many of them are marketing and sales professionals within roofing companies. And what I would say to any woman who's looking to move into any construction trade is don't be intimidated by the fact that, yes, there's more than 50% men in the industry. I actually find that I prefer being in a room full of men because I get to learn in ways that maybe I didn't learn when I was younger. So it's been phenomenal. A lot of people will think that women have a disadvantage in the industry. I don't think so. I think that the one thing I had to overcome very quickly was my technical knowledge, because when I do get questioned, it's usually around technical knowledge, and I could probably run circles around some of these guys with my technical knowledge because I felt I had to. And I genuinely do believe I sold so well my first 3 years in the industry because of that. So some of it was just my interest in learning, but once I realized that I could sell better if I had good technical expertise, I just absorbed all the content and information I could.
Cool. I want to ask you about continuing education in this industry. Do you go to a lot of conferences, trainings, seminars, events of those kinds to keep up with the ongoing trends? How important is that? Do you recommend that for others? If you want to just touch on that, that'd be great.
Sure. Continuing education is huge. I think that as owners, we need to empower our employees to find the conferences and events that make sense for them to attend. So not only should we be attending as owners, but I think our employees should be too. I just went to the Top Rep event that was hosted down in Phoenix, which was awesome. I took the leader track and I learned a lot. I do want to go back in the sales track, which would be really interesting because I haven't been in a full-time sales role for a couple of years now. I feel like those guys are going to run circles around me, but that's definitely something that I encourage any owner to do. Give your people a budget for education every year. Every one of my 9 employees, my full-time employees, have a budget of $1,500, whether they want to use that on one seminar and spend it all on hotels and flights and tickets. Sure. If they want to spread that out to 3 different events throughout the year, I'm all in support of that too. All they have to do is make the business case. Why do they want to go to that event? What are they going to learn from it? And I approve that budget. So I definitely recommend any sort of formal learning event, but I more so would encourage in-person events because it's not even the learning opportunities that I find value in, it's the connection with the people that you can spend time with. So I highly encourage in-person events over online events.
Yeah, speaking of in-person event, I went to a couple last year. RoofCon was one of them. And just meeting people face-to-face has a genuine value added to it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we do webinars every single month for roofing companies and other niches like HVAC and plumbing. So as good as online sounds, because you're able to do this at the convenience of your desktop, the value of learning something face-to-face is tremendous. I can't stress that enough. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I want to ask you about your typical day, if your day is typical or if it changes. Like, what can someone expect from a day in the life of Amanda, and how should they take inspiration from it?
Oh gosh, they should take inspiration over my exhaustion and hire an admin immediately. And if you don't have a director or a leader of production and operations, hire one, because you can't be the best owner that you can be for your company if you're constantly being pulled in different directions. And that's something I'm working on right now. Are you familiar with Dan Martell?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so the one life-changing book I've read over the last 12 months was Buy Back Your Time. I actually read that entire book on a flight. I think I was flying to Texas sometime in October or November. Might have even been to RoofCon. I can't remember. But I read that whole book, and the thing that stood out to to me the most was hiring an admin to own your calendar, own your inbox. And he says that if you do those things, you're basically an admin yourself, and you're a really bad one at that. And I totally agree with him. Like, my skill set is not in fine details and organization. So that needs to be somebody else's responsibility. My skill set is not in operations and production management. That needs to be somebody else's responsibility. My day never looks the same. And I'm working on that because it doesn't help me to have a chaotic schedule. It helps me if I do things routinely, which is not my nature. I'm the type of person who thrives on ambiguity in the gray area. So for me, trying to fit into a nice, neat box every day is a little bit difficult. But when I do have routine and structure, I tend to get more done because I don't have to do the mental gymnastics switching between all the different things that an owner has to do every day. So between buy back your time and then investing in a coaching group this year that meets once a week and we learn from each other, that has been such a phenomenal use of my time as an owner.
I might be able to give you a good recommendation on a coaching group.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not in that group myself, but there's a lot of roofers and HVAC guys that are in that group. And actually, it is run by one of my good connections that I met on LinkedIn. I know that I saw this video one time from Alex Hormozy where he actually blocks out his calendar from the bottom of the day to the top of the day. So he doesn't let anybody book meetings early in the day because that's when you're most productive. Because by the end of the day, like, you're done working, like, you're checked out.
Yeah.
So you don't want to really deal with people. So he's like, I don't let anybody book meetings until like 5 o'clock. And the next meeting's going to be 4 o'clock. So it's actually pretty cool if you think of it. So I'm trying to do that with my team so that I am not tied into these. Because like, you start a call at 9 and you got to prep for it. Then there's after prep or like after stuff that needs to happen, emails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then your whole day is eaten up by a couple of phone calls in the morning. So I mean, that's another strategy. But yeah, I feel you because I think every business owner, whether it be roofing or anything else, has the same type of challenges.
Definitely.
Speaking of
the struggle.
Yeah, the struggle is real. Speaking of challenges, what would you say your top 3 challenges were in the first 3 or 6 months of opening that business, and how would you deal with it differently?
So one of the struggles was definitely cash flow from the beginning because we basically bootstrapped the company. I did not want to take out any long-term debt or short-term debt to open up the company. And I very clearly knew how much I had to sell in what period of time in order to generate the cash that I needed to support being debt-free. And that was a struggle because I constantly felt like I was up against a clock in terms of selling, right? But I was almost primarily focused on selling the first few months. I knew that I needed some base level CRM and templated proposal stuff done, which I did. But then my first 6 months, I really only focused on selling, which was necessary to generate that cash. So that was challenge number 1, figuring out how to bring money in order to stay open the first year in business. The second challenge certainly was all those processes that I was talking about before that we're trying to perfect this year. And I don't think we had anything written down process-wise or formalized until probably month 18. And that's because it was me, my production leader, TJ, and my admin, Lori. It was like the 3 of us running a multi-million-dollar business. So there was no excess time on anybody's schedule to work on those processes. Then we started hiring. The third thing that was a struggle and is still a struggle is hiring. I love people. Clearly, I'm in sales, so you have to love people in order to call yourself a salesperson. If you didn't like people and you were a salesperson, that will drain you. But for me, I want to see the best in people. I want people to succeed. So when I hire them, I want them to do well. And it hurts me as a human being to have to let somebody go. But sometimes you hire somebody because you're desperate, right? And then you realize that the desperation is what made you hire the wrong person. Not that they were a bad person, but they were just a bad fit for that role. And it was a struggle for me to terminate somebody quickly because I wanted them to do well and I wanted to invest time and energy into them, but that was actually a really bad idea.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Now when we hire anyone, we just try to do role play with them and make them be in that exact situation. Yeah. So it's pretty stressful. Yeah, hiring is not fun. It's definitely one thing that every business can not figure out 100%. Yeah. So you don't have to feel bad, I guess.
Well, thanks, because there's definitely some emotional toll that takes.
Absolutely. So I know that you are a mother and a wife.
Yep.
And you obviously run your business. How do you balance that?
Poorly. It's not something I do well. I have been working 14 and 15 hours this week every single day, and I have a short fuse when I get home, and I try to take my ownership hat off and put my mom hat on and put my wife hat on. But owning your own business never really leaves you, no matter if you leave the office and shut the door and come home. It's a struggle. And I don't know if men feel this way. I'm not a man, obviously. I'm not a father. But being a mom doesn't necessarily come naturally to me. It's something I have to work very hard at. And being a professional working woman does come naturally to me. So, of course, human nature is to focus on the things that are natural for you. So it's very hard for me to shut my brain off when I leave the office and turn my mom brain on. But the whole buy back your time thing, having an admin, delegating responsibility, having 9 employees that I can give things to is helpful. But then that comes with their own challenges. I have people calling me at 8 o'clock at night from my team that have important questions about sales appointments, and they're trying to close deals, and I'm trying to get dinner made while putting my kids to bed and eating my own dinner and talking to my employees. So I don't think it's uniquely a woman thing or a mother thing. I think it's a parent thing trying to run a business at the same time and being a good person and not losing it. It's a struggle, and I don't do it very well.
You broke $1 million, well, I guess more than $1 million in your first year. This is not very common for any business, be it a roofing business. So you can give yourself some credit for that. You're obviously in the high percentage in terms of success rate. Most businesses fail in their first couple of years. What are the key takeaways you think? Obviously, bringing in sales is huge, but what are the key takeaways for you that had you stay afloat the first year? And obviously, you're in your third year now, but what was the few things that actually made the difference for you to stay on afloat?
So have you ever heard somebody tell you that when you get married, you have to be really focused on marrying the right person for your marriage to be successful? Well, for me, it was finding my right-hand man. And just like a marriage, a partnership with 2 leaders in an organization can make or break that company. And I don't mean partnership in terms of like him owning part of the company. I own the company 100%, but the relationship between me and my COO / my production leader, I use those terms interchangeably, genuinely gave me the opportunity to build the company the way I knew I wanted to and I knew I had to, because I could completely trust and offload everything having to do with operations and production to him. So just like a marriage, when you are dating somebody and committing your life to them, I basically had to trust that this person I was bringing in to help me run the company from day one was the right person for the role. And I was extremely fortunate to hire the right person into that role. And to this day, like 2 days from now, we're turning 2 years old. Our relationship is incredibly strong and our business is strong because of that. And it's necessary when you want to scale quickly to have somebody running alongside of you to do all the things that you're not good at so that you can focus on doing the things that you excel at. So I would say the number one reason we're successful is because I made a decision to bring somebody on, and it was the right person that I brought on. Some of that was fortune and luck, I'm not going to lie, because hiring other people after that has been challenging for me, but I got very lucky with my first hire. The second thing that has made us very successful is my ability to do organic marketing very well and not focus on throwing a ton of money at paid lead sources. I did dabble in paid leads for about 3 weeks in January of this year, and I pulled the plug extremely fast because I might as well just be lighting money on fire. When you build your business, when you sell your first $1 million without ever having to spend $1 in marketing, and then you try to generate leads with paid advertising, it's incredibly painful. So I was like, you know what? This isn't working the way I wanted it to work. I was hesitant to do it in the first place. We're going to go back and double down on organic marketing.
I think it also stems from the fact that you did so well in your first year without doing any paid marketing. It's a testament to your hard work and success. So if it works that way, why not? And right now you're obviously trying to retain your existing growth while fixing your systems or making them better. The sky's the limit for you, I'm sure. Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Well, is there anything you would like to talk about or advise other business owners in roofing that are in their first year or their second year, or if they're looking to get into this industry, what steps or what advice would you give them?
The biggest thing we haven't discussed yet, and I want to impart on everybody watching, is it's so tempting to say yes to projects that are not a good fit for you because you're like, oh, I'll figure it out. That's the worst possible thing you could do. Take my advice and my struggles directly from me so you don't make those mistakes. If I could do anything over again for the first 2 years of the business, I wish I stayed hyper-focusing on roofing and gutters rather than trying to take on other services. It has only derailed us and helped to pull me away from focusing on roofing and gutters. And now what we're doing is actually saying, no, sorry, we'll give you a referral for those other things. Yes, we could generate probably $500,000 in the next quarter on services that aren't really aligned with our core focus area, but I don't want to grow in the wrong ways. I want to continue growing in the right ways, and that's roofing, gutters, and now siding. Siding was one of those things that took us away from our focus, but we've got a great crew. My production team is up and running with siding, and now we're adding that to our core focus area. But if I were to do it all over again, I would only focus on roofing and gutters my first 2 years.
Are you primarily in the storm insurance or retail for you guys?
We do very little insurance work. I actually just brought a salesperson on who only did insurance work. It's not typical here in New Jersey to have much storm work or insurance work on a normal day-to-day basis. So that's not our focus. Most of what we did last year and the year before was almost entirely retail. There were a couple of times people called in and said they had wind damage or hail damage, but I would say we've done maybe 5 million in revenue total since the start now, and 98.5% was all retail.
So pretty much everything is retail. Speaking of retail, do you think that financing is important? Do you offer financing for your company?
It is important. It's important to have it as an option, but it's very little of our revenue that we actually finance. I want to say less than 5% of people finance.
So then people just basically pay out of pocket in full for these retail roofs?
Yeah, imagine that. People want to spend $20,000 of their own money on a roof and they'll write me checks for it.
Wow,
yeah,
that's
Don't
incredible.
file insurance claims.
Well, yeah, insurance claims too. So when they're doing insurance claims, is that considered retail or is that storm related?
That's storm.
That's storm. Okay. Well, all right. What do you have for the this year, your third year, and the future? What is your plan for your business moving forward?
I want to grow smartly. I want to focus on our training programs. I want to make sure that we have phenomenal communications and automations in place, because we need to take some of the burden off of my employees' plates to ensure that everything gets done the same way every single time. We sort of want to create like the McDonald's effect, where you could be in Japan having a hamburger from McDonald's and it tastes exactly the same because they have their systems and processes dialed in. I sort of want to get to that degree of automation and systemization with Maven. So whether you have an experience with me and me alone, or if you work with 5 of my team members, the feeling and the experience is the exact same. So that's really what we're focused on this year.
And where can people find Maven Roofing and Exteriors on the internet?
MavenNJ for New Jersey.com is our website. And on Facebook, the best thing to do is just follow me directly or connect with me directly. Our Facebook page is active. I do have a director of marketing that runs all of our social channels. So just make sure you're searching Maven in New Jersey. We do have a counterpart unrelated to us. We're not connected, but they're down in the southeast coast of the United States. So just follow us for New Jersey.
Cool. Well, it was a pleasure and an honor to have you, Amanda, on the show. I'm sure a lot of people will take inspiration from this, and you will pave the way for a lot of other women wanting to get into roofing and still are on the fence of taking that decision to jump in. You obviously bootstrap your company, which is a dream for a lot of people. So when somebody starts their journey in roofing, should they go for any kind of SBA loans or try to finance part of their company, or should they I'm just thinking of in terms of financing or in terms of investments, what are we looking at for a start?
You're going to just have to do it, because you're not going to be eligible for any of those loans or any of those programs right out the bat, at least for the first 6 to 12 months. Most of those SBA loans need to see historical data showing that there's positive trends of growth in your business or previous historical growth of other businesses. Don't take out too much debt. Don't buy the fancy trucks. Don't buy the trailers. Don't get things wrapped right away. Like, you have to be really strategic. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for yourself. If you're trying to be fancy and spend money on things that other people spend money on that are 30 years old in terms of the companies, you're going to be putting yourself in debt. It doesn't need to happen. I brought on my COO before I even sold my first roof, and I never was in debt for the first 12 months of our business. I now have debt. That is because I've grown, and we've got credit with our supply houses, and I strategically pay things off over the winter a little bit more slowly, and I spread things out on 0% interest credit cards. There's so many ways ways to do it normally without having to take on any long-term business debt, and you just have to do it smartly.
Thank you so much for all that. We're at the end of the show. I will drop the links to follow Amanda in the description of this video, so go check out Maven Roofing and Exteriors in New Jersey. And Amanda, thanks for coming on the show. For those of you guys watching, please do follow us, drop a comment. We'd love to hear from you about what you thought about this episode, and if you'd like to come on an episode, feel free to contact me. There's going to be links in the description for you to get in touch with me. Thanks again, Amanda, and I look forward to having you another episode someday, and best of luck with Maven.
Thank you so much.